Investigative Report, Outsourcing Technical Services by Jamie Corson, SLAS 702, University of South Carolina, Dr. Rathbun Grubb. First, we must understand the responsibilities of Library Technical Services departments and librarians. A Library Technical Service department is comprised of the following units. Acquisition Unit. This is according to the Georgetown University Technical Library Services Department. The Acquisition Unit is responsible for the ordering of print books, single-title ebooks, audiovisual materials, as well as select out-of-print titles. They also are responsible for continuous communication with vendors, creating accurate records of payment and ownership, monitoring budgeted materials, and processing payments, as well as reconciling invoices. They also are responsible for maintaining close communications with the Collections Development Department, the Library Business Office, as well as the Accounts Payable Department. The Electronic and Resources and Serials Unit is responsible for the ordering, invoicing, and maintenance of electronic resources and print serials, overseeing checking in of binding of print serials, scanning orders and government document, performing daily troubleshooting of access issues for all types of electronic resources such as database, e-journals, and e-books, ensuring subscriptions are up to date for continuous and reliable access. Also, they're responsible for setting up and maintaining access points for e-resources such as LibGuides, Hoya Search, and Journal Finder. The Metadata Services Unit is responsible for organizing and describing and processing of materials to provide access to tangible and intangible resources. They're also responsible for maintaining digital objects in the library content management system. They're also responsible for consulting with a variety of digital initiatives, creating and maintaining records for enhanced discovery of materials in a variety of formats, languages, and subject areas. They're also responsible for inventory control, physical processing of items, receiving and routine materials purchased, as well as items that are donated to the library. They're also responsible for contributing bibliographic and authority, as well as identifying records. The Preservation Unit is responsible for the conservation of culture and posterity by maintaining the continuous access to the library collections for long-term use. They're responsible for the other items such as field services, conservation and field vendor services, digital preservation, creating and updating library disaster preparedness plans, preservation strategies for disaster response and recovery, proper care and handling and use of library materials, conservation and vendor services, including processing of damaged materials, and vendor contracting for highly specialized repairs. They're also responsible for reformatting of unique or rare materials. The definition from the previous slides is not all-inclusive. Some technical library services departments may have additional responsibilities. What are the responsibilities of a technical services librarian? They're responsible for the administrative and technical work for library technical and circulation services department, providing reference and readers services work, specialized project, material selection, database management, creation, use, and management of machine-readable bibliographic records according to national accepted technical standards. They must be skilled in library automation and technical services. They also are responsible for reviewing potential materials for acquisition and contributing to the collection developmental efforts. They also must have a thorough knowledge of bibliographic maintenance standards and practices, including Anglo-American cataloging rules, Dewey Decimal classification, Library of Congress subject headings, as well as OCL and MARC records. But what is outsourcing? Outsourcing is defined as the procurement of services from an external vendor. Libraries have long accepted that outsourcing of services such as facility, equipment, maintenance, and courier, as well as security services. However, what about outsourcing technical services? Some say that outsourcing of core library functions, such as technical services, threatens the public library's viabilities, and diverts long-term control and diminishes the contributed value of professional librarians. On the flip side of the coin, others say that outsourcing of library functions will not diminish the need for professional librarians and will actually offer a unique opportunity to reduce costs, capitalize on investments and innovations, as well as special capabilities of external suppliers. Is outsourcing technical services worth it? Well, ask a librarian. Outsourcing of technical services, when carefully planned and dutifully managed, is a powerful boon to the library's workflow and time constraints because receiving catalog records and pre-processed materials allow the library staff to devote much more time and energy to other tasks such as tasks and backlogs on administrative priorities. Based upon the statement, it is obvious that outsourcing technical services is worth it. However, in order to do so, how do you do so? With careful planning and dutiful management. What are the steps to outsourcing technical services? The steps are preparation, which is basically analyzing your current procedural documentation, starting small, working with a vendor at the point of order, physical processing, asking questions of the possible vendor, of physical controls such as using the Dewey Decimal Classification System. Do they truncate when fixing spine labels? Where do you break lines? Where do you require a prefix or a suffix or other information in the call number? Do you print in bold, type, or regular font? If so, what font do you use? In cataloging of records, you need to expect quality records that are complete. Ask the vendor to support standards that your library works with, such as RDA, MARC 21, and LCA authorities and others. Explain that you want records that are complete and provide an example of a full record. How does a library actually outsource technical services? Number one, you have to find a vendor. Ask for professional recommendations. Ask the possible vendor partner to build trust for a long-term relationship, and do not be afraid to ask questions. Ask questions of that vendor to help with proper quality control steps and make sure they're in place. Visit another library to renew the quality of services that the vendor actually supplies. Secondarily, once you find a possible vendor partner, manage. Integrate routine evaluations of how well the vendor services are performing. Review records that are received in order to spot areas of concern. Also, review service charges to ensure that they are commensurate with the value of services being offered, as well as expect errors, but however, with time, this should normalize. Continue to clarify your expectations in order to create a working relationship that develops and matures into a true and long-lasting collaboration. How does technical services actually save money? According to the Brigham Young University Harold Lee Library, they conducted a search that stated that shelf-ready books are, on the average, 5% cheaper and took 47% less processing time. They also found that shelf library label books arrived, on average, 33 days sooner to the library than books that were processed in-house. How much can you save by outsourcing technical services? While this is different for each library, and technical services is based upon many different factors, the Harvard Crimson newspaper did a report that stated that the Harvard Library saved over $25 million over 5 years' time by streamlining administrative positions in the library to reduce inefficiencies and reallocate resources to better balance the needs of a centralized library. However, on the other hand, some people said that by outsourcing work to vendors, that the Harvard Library is ceding independent functions such as technical services of a library as a curator of information and the services of knowledge to the hands of a private corporation, and that such changes may look good to people concerned about budgetary savings, but the long-term quality of Harvard collections could be inestimable. Will this put an end to outsourcing of technical services? According to the Ripps Law Librarian, in July 2014, the Technical Services Department at a major university law library had 13 full-time employees. As of today, 4/17/2018, there were now 5. The work related to physical paper materials has decreased by approximately 66%. The management of electronic resources and maintenance of a robust, user-friendly online card catalog takes work. In many instances, technical services tasks of today are different and are actually more technical and take a more specialized skill set that is not easily replaced. Based upon this information, the answer is no. The outsourcing of technical services will not replace librarians. While many of the day-to-day practices of a technical librarian and the services departments have changed, the needs for these individuals has not changed. In closing, it is my opinion that outsourcing of technical services does save money. The process of outsourcing technical services must be done one step at a time. The long-term benefit of outsourcing technical services depends, in large part, upon the steps that are taken at the beginning of the process. It is important that clear expectations of communications with the vendor partner is put into place. Some librarian positions may be lost due to outsourcing of technical services. However, those lost positions are generally replaced by more technical jobs involved in the maintenance and support of digital collections. While savings may be realized, if the process is not properly managed, it can cost a lot more money in the long run. Overall, the outsourcing of technical services is beneficial if done and handled properly. Here are my references. Thank you.